You out of water?
No, that's okay.
Yeah, how'd you know?
I just happened to see.
Cabrera.
I forgot what your name was before because oh yeah, this is the day they signed the
Veterans Day.
This is the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month.
Okay, your D-O-R.
O-T-H-E-A.
Now, is it
P-U-E-N-T-E.
age?
I'll be 60 in January.
Date of birth?
1/9/29.
And you're straight. Okay, Dorothea, first question is, how long have you actually lived at that residence?
I think I moved there in 78, but I was in prison for, I was incarcerated from May the 19th.
1978?
No, 82 until September the 9th of 85.
Okay, so you actually started living there in 1978, and you lived there until 1982, until May when you were sent away.
Right.
And then you got out in September 1985.
Right.
And you've lived there ever since.
Right, okay. I was sent to prison in September of 82. August the 23rd, excuse me, August the 23rd.
August 1982, August 23rd.
But I was incarcerated from May the 19th on.
Okay, so from 1978 to 1982, you lived there, and do you remember who lived there before you?
No. I don't know.
You don't remember?
No. But I've only had the downstairs for a year.
Who lived down there?
Well, I mean, I don't have the downstairs, but I collect the rent from my nephew.
Okay.
He lived there before.
What's his name?
Ricardo Ordorica. O-R-D-O-R-I-C-A.
Does he live here in Sacramento?
Yes. I don't remember the address.
How old is he?
About 50, 48, something like that.
Okay, approximately. He's in Sacto too, right?
Yes.
He's the owner of the property.
Right.
And you lease the property.
Right. Well, I pay monthly rent, you know. We've never signed an agreement.
Okay.
But they rented the place out while I was gone, but the utilities stayed in my name. And
so the utilities of the property are in your name?
Uh-huh.
Who pays taxes on the
My nephew.
He pays it.
Uh-huh.
So you pay all the utilities on the property is in your name.
Uh-huh.
And you have a verbal agreement, lease,
right.
that you are to live there and
right.
Okay. Maintain and take care of the property?
Right. When I was gone, he rented my apartment out, but kept the utilities under Montalvo, which was one of my married names. Yeah, I'll show you my ID.
So you have Dorothea Montalvo?
Yes.
And you're also Dorothea Puente?
I was born Puente, and I was married to a Montalvo, and I was married to a Puente.
You were born Montalvo, right?
No, I was born Puente.
Puente. Where were you born?
Redlands, California.
Redlands, okay. Okay.
And I was in CIW under Montalvo.
Okay.
And with the feds.
You're under Puente. Right. Okay. Now, the questions we need to ask you. I need all the truth from you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Number one is going back. Of course, you know how this whole thing got started was because of this last individual,
right?
Montoya. Now, his disappearance is very suspicious. I can tell you that. Even the things that you said didn't even quite connect with what the other individual told us when she spoke to you. There were a lot of inconsistencies in your statement.
Well, you know, I didn't think I was ever going to have to remember everything. And
that's fine. I mean, I can understand that, and you explained that to us. But there's just a lot of inconsistencies. Also,
if they get in touch with you, I mean, wouldn't that...
I'd have to physically see.
Right.
Now, as far as the social worker, he had no relatives known to her and never mentioned of any. But he had mentioned at one time that he wanted to move from your place.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't want to stay there anymore. And then we talked to Mr. Sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Sharp says he hasn't seen him for 3 months. But you said the other day.
Yeah,
and the social worker hasn't seen him. So who is lying to me? Who is lying to me, Dorothea?
Well, I'm not. He was there Saturday and Sunday.
How can Mr. Sharp...
Well, he doesn't even associate with the other people.
Mr. Sharp also told us that you had told him to lie.
I did not.
About saying that he was there, because he later told us that you told him to lie.
In fact, I had asked Mr. Sharp to move.
When did you ask him that?
Let's see. He couldn't pay rent 1 month, October, because he won his money.
Drinking.
Gambling.
Gambling.
I don't know if he drinks or not.
Okay.
And that was the second time that he had done that since he'd been there. And it makes it hard to come up with the rent, you know, and so he finally paid me on the 3rd. And I asked him if he would move when his rent was...
Why would Mr. Sharp tell us...
Because he's mad because I'm making him move.
That he hasn't seen you for 3 months. Also, Ben. Now, how long did Ben live there?
Just 2 months.
Okay, so Ben Fink lived there 2 months.
Right.
Did, let me see, who would have known him? Did Melvin know Ben?
Who?
Melvin, or John. You call him John.
You mean Mervin?
Mervin, yeah. Why do I say Melvin? It's Mervin.
I don't know because...
Did he associate with him?
No. He doesn't associate with hardly anybody.
But Ben, what place was Ben staying at?
Downstairs.
In one of the rooms by himself?
Uh-huh.
Okay. See,
but he was gone most of the time because he was always out drinking.
Uh-huh.
And...
Okay.
Okay, and he was on... he had a bad leg. And he would go sell his blood every week.
Down at the plasma center,
right.
Yeah. Right.
And he said he was going to go back to Marysville.
Okay. When did he say that?
When I told him that he had to leave.
When was that?
I can't remember what month it was. He was only there a couple of months.
2, 3 months ago?
Uh-huh. It was in the summertime sometime.
Now see, Mr. Sharp says that Ben was missing the same time as Montoya. The social worker says she was in contact with Montoya up till about 3 months ago.
Okay.
And she says she has not heard hide nor hair from him.
Well, he really didn't want to see them.
But he'd attempted to, he went to detox on an occasion.
Twice.
Yeah, and he told him at detox, take me out of your home. I don't want to live there. And the social worker was on very good terms with him, to where she was...
Yes, Judy.
Right, and when he all of a sudden disappeared, she started thinking, what the heck's going on here? And then she got the inconsistent things about, you tell me that the guy was from, you didn't know where he went, and then she got a phone call and she says that you told her he went to Utah. I mean, there's a lot of things, Dorothea, that I don't understand.
I don't know where the man was going to take him.
Okay, but I mean, there's a lot, you see what I'm saying? There's a lot of inconsistencies there. Okay. And it can't explain his disappearance. It can't. Now, coupled with all of that, okay, coupled with all of that, and then we come and talk to you.
Could you put a tap on my phone and listen to my conversation? Like if they call me?
No.
I would like you to do that.
For me to be satisfied, I would have to physically see them.
Well, then couldn't you, once when the call came through, couldn't you monitor all the calls and then put a trace on the call?
I don't know how that works, to be truthful with you.
Because I would be willing to have that done,
yeah.
you know. But I know he'll get in touch with me.
The other problem is this. You know, we go and talk to you. You're real good about it. And then we ask you for permission. You didn't even have to give us permission to look, but you were cooperating. You said sure. You gave us permission to dig around in the yard and look around. And then we dig, and lo and behold, we find what looks like the remains of a human being, clothing and all.
But if it was Alvaro, you know, Bert.
No, I don't think it's Alvaro. I don't think Alvaro, if he was in the ground, would be that decayed, to be truthful with you. Or Ben Fink, you know. Now, I know that the concrete up in front of the shed hasn't been on the ground that long. I can tell.
Up in front of the shed?
You know where the rose bushes are? You put the roses in the little round circles?
Oh, yeah.
Right in front of the shed. Not in back of the shed where the garden area is, but in front there. It's about an inch thick.
Let me see, in there it's,
How about this last summer, maybe you put that down?
I'm trying to think how long ago. Maybe, was it February or something like that?
Okay, because there was a trench there. There was an open trench there at one time. Do you remember that?
Yeah, we were looking for sewer lines.
Okay, so right in front of that was an open trench. And in fact, if my memory serves me right, that trench went this way and then along the fence on the side of that shed. Am I correct? Made like an L shape.
Okay, you mean...
Right where the concrete is now. Underneath that concrete there used to be, there was a ditch, a little ditch. You say you were looking for sewer. Okay, now you know where I'm speaking about? Yeah. Okay, you know where the little shed is? Outdoors? Not in the back of the house. The one on the side of the house.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, let's say the garden is, okay, let's do it like this. Here's the garden area, okay? Then there's some concrete here, and then you have a shed right there. Okay, and then in front of the shed you have a little bit more concrete with little circles, and I believe those are some kind of bush. And then, let's see, you have another little, some kind of a patio thing here, and then that driveway goes out like that. See, and here's the front of the house. You know what shed I'm talking about right here? Okay, this area. You know that? Where the concrete's only about an inch thick. That looks like it hasn't been...
I thought that was about 3 inches thick.
Well, you can see it on the sides, dear. But what I'm saying is, that concrete hasn't been there that long. I'm no expert, but I know when I look at concrete, I've been around it long enough, that has not been there that long. Do you remember when that concrete was put down?
Well, it had to be in the early part of the year then.
Okay. But that's what I'm saying. There was, at one time, a trench there. Am I wrong?
No. It was about 2 feet deep.
2 feet deep, and it didn't run in an L shape like this.
No.
Which way did it go? It just went straight across?
Straight, yeah.
Okay, right in front of the shed area.
Like from, wasn't even as long as this table.
Okay. You were looking for sewer then? Okay, and that was, when was that? Was it summertime? Was it early part of the year?
It was probably March.
About March, okay. Now, and you have a shed back here.
I could have sworn it was last year, but it was this year.
So we know that concrete. Now, the concrete in front here, was that poured the same time as here?
Oh, no.
How long has this concrete been there?
Over a year.
Over a year, okay. And that's connected to the shed. And how long has the shed been there?
Over a year.
Okay. What was here before all that was put down?
Plants
and garden, that garden area, all dirt and stuff like that. Okay.
But it was so much for me to keep raking up.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it would be. Okay, and then you have a little shed back here.
I mean, there was another family living downstairs at that time, you know. And
how long has that shed been there?
The metal shed?
Did you get it after you were out you got out in 1985? Did you put it up there, or was it there before then?
The metal shed? I put it up in, God, that's when I have to remember.
I mean, was it after you got out in 1985? Yeah. Okay. So, after 1985, you put it up, the shed. Okay. Now, back of your house, there are some trees planted here.
Mm-hmm.
How long have those trees been there? They seem to be rather new by the way the roots
Yeah, they're
do
only
not.
a couple months old.
Yeah, I can move them with my hand and I can see that the roots are not
In
adhering
fact,
to
the one
the
I was
soil.
going to take out because it was
Dying?
dying.
Okay. It appears that there was some digging in this back area there. Did you have any open trench areas back there?
There used to be a chicken coop there.
Where now? In this whole thing?
Yeah.
How long ago?
A year and a half ago.
Okay. When was the last time there was any digging back here? Because it appears that there has been some digging in there.
Yeah, let's see, that was this summer sometime.
What did you dig up? Was there another trench for sewer or anything?
Yeah, but there was nothing there. John and John dug some, and
Whereabouts? What area of it? Here are the trees right here. What area would it be?
all back in here.
This whole thing?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now over here you have a couple of big concrete, those big look like bathtubs to me.
Oh, that came out of the upstairs.
Yeah. Anyway, how long have those been there?
3 or 4 years.
Okay, those have never budged. Okay, and then of course I was digging around over here,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's a big tree right here. Okay. But the only digging you know of. Okay, we know there was a trench. You dug a small trench right here. How deep was that?
Maybe 18 inches, 20 inches.
Foot and a half?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and then you didn't find anything? You just buried it?
Uh-huh.
And then later on you laid concrete over the whole thing?
Yeah, I threw some, like, if you look in my kitchen, I have one bucket where I put my coffee grounds, eggshells and stuff. In fact, you'll find that all over the yard.
Okay.
You know.
Well, a lot of people do that. Have you ever had any or had the need for any lye around the house?
Lime?
White powder lye?
We put some lime where did John put the lime? I forget if it was Lumberjack or a Capsule Nursery told me that the ground is so hard.
Yeah.
Like if you go back and dig where the grass is, you know, where we put the grass in the front, they dug up about that much. If you walk across to the empty lot, you'll see the grass sitting there. And they dug about that much, and we put in, well, I didn't put lime there, but I put a bag of fertilizer and I think 1 bag of potting soil or something, and then.
Well, I noticed a lime back there in the soil.
Well, they said that the ground needed.
Yeah, but I also noticed in the hole we were digging there was some residue of lime. Would there be any reason to be lime 2 feet below in the soil?
Mm-mm.
None. You never put any down.
Never put.
Okay. How about John?
No.
Who did the digging back there for you? Who dug all these trenches?
I think John dug some. I tried, but I couldn't.
Arthritis or something?
No, I have a bad heart, and I can't lift anything very heavy.
Okay. So John did most of the digging when it needed to
Well,
be
not
done.
always. I mean, sometimes I had, what do you call it, casual labor?
Yeah. Okay. Now, getting back to what we find in this hole here, do you have any knowledge of what was in that hole at any time?
Mm-mm.
Did John ever tell you about anything?
John?
Sure. Could he have put something in that hole?
I don't think so. He's had a quadruple bypass or whatever. You know, whatever he does, he has to.
How about Mr. Kelly?
No, he never does. He has a bad leg.
Okay.
The only thing he ever did was help take up some grass out by the sidewalk where I put some dichondra.
Have you done any digging up here in this area? Or is mainly all your digging is back in the side in here?
On the side, because I always have tomatoes and bell peppers and squash, chili peppers in the summertime. This area here, what's this here?
This is a driveway.
Oh, the
You got the
driveway?
concrete and you got some plastic over here.
Okay, that's from my grass that we just planted yesterday. But that was only dug up about this much.
What was in the middle there before?
Grass, but it was
Bad?
bad.
So you dug it up and you planted
Yeah,
grass?
and if you go look across the street from my house, you can see it.
I believe you. I believe you. Okay, now let's get back to this other thing here. Okay?
Mhm.
I've got a man missing. Everything seems totally Nothing fits, Dorothea. That's what I'm trying to say. Nothing fits. Okay? And there's one or two things I can surmise. Okay? And that is, Mr. Montoya is dead.
No, he's not.
Okay, well, Miss that. I'm just saying. I'm trying to surmise this, and then we'll try to clear this up. That he is dead, and that either John McCauley or what is it, Mervin,
John, no.
either killed him, or that maybe he met foul play by your hands. That's my alternatives. I don't know. But my other alternative is that the fact that somewhere in that backyard, Dorothea, that he's lying, maybe along with other people.
No.
Okay? And I'm also going to tell you that we had this same information a year ago. A year ago? Yes. A year ago. So, what I'm telling you is not new to me.
Monday, can I hire a contractor to go in and tear everything down and dig it up to prove to you that there's nobody there?
If any digging has to be done, we're going to do the digging.
Oh, okay.
Okay? What I'm trying to do is, right now, save a lot of painstaking trouble. A lot of time and a lot of trouble. And what I'm asking you, my bottom line is what I'm truly asking you, Dorothea.
Sir, I have never killed anybody.
Maybe not you, but how about Mr. McCauley?
What reason would he have to kill anybody?
Well, I know we're going to find out if about the checks, okay, the Social Security checks. And I know that your past, you've been in some trouble with, okay? And I remember when you were arrested and you were in the B, remember in 1982 when you were slipping Mickeys to people? Taking their money?
I didn't do that. I admitted to that to get the trial over with.
Okay, but you still were convicted of it and sentenced to it.
Right.
Okay. The similarities are there. The only thing that's different now is the fact, rather than take something and let it go, you get rid of them, and nothing's ever found. Now here's a man from Costa Rica or Timbuktu that really nobody cares about. Just like, in fact, just like Mr. Kelly said, he says, hey, when you're nobody, you're nobody. Nobody cares. So you disappear, you're a transient, or you're a bum, or you're an alcoholic.
I cared for him.
A lot of people think nobody ever cares.
I cared for him. I bought him clothes. I treated him very, very good.
Have you seen Ben Fink around?
No. I told him not to ever come back on the property.
But he was normally a regular around town. And you know what?
But he's lived in Marysville before.
Dorothea, if he'd have been in Marysville, he'd have been arrested. That's how Ben was. You know how Ben was.
No, I only knew him for 2 months.
He'd get drunk. He'd get a little goofy, right? And then usually end up getting arrested, taking a detox or something. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Gone. What am I to think? What am I to think after hearing this a year and following along, watching, waiting, and then all of a sudden, lo and behold, I dig up a body in your backyard?
I don't know anything. I didn't even see the body.
It may be, and you may be. That may be true. That's why I'm asking you. I'm appealing to you, Dorothea.
Sir, I don't know anything.
I'm going to ask you right now again. Are there any other bodies?
No.
In your backyard?
Not that I didn't even know that one was there.
Did Mr. McCauley put any other bodies in the backyard?
You have to ask Mr. McCauley.
Okay, and I intend to. Okay. And that's why I'm asking you. Because if it has to be said, I want it said right now. Let's clear it up. Let's not get into something that maybe isn't there. I want to know. I want you to be truthful with me.
Sir, I didn't even know that body was there.
Okay.
If I had, I would have said, no, don't search the yard, But I had nothing to hide. I don't want to go back to prison.
Well, I realize that.
I'm an old lady.
I realize that, too.
I'm trying to get off parole. I'm trying to get my life together.
But Dorothea, that all the indications, everything doesn't make any sense is what I'm trying to tell you. I'm appealing to you. I'm appealing to you, Dorothea. That's what I'm saying is nothing makes sense. Nothing. Everything you said was inconsistent with what somebody else said. When you sat in there, it was like sticking your foot in your own mouth. I couldn't believe you were telling me that. Because I thought, wait a minute. Something is wrong here. And then when I talked to Mr. McCauley, he couldn't even substantiate what you were saying. And here's a man that's lived there 4 years.
No, he's
almost.
Lived there
4 years in March.
No, he's been there 2 years.
Well, he says 4 years in March.
Well, he couldn't remember that I'd gotten out in 85.
But he was living there before you then, right?
No.
Dorothea, I know if we dig, we're going to find more. I know that.
Well, I didn't put him there. I couldn't drag a body any place.
I believe that. But I believe there's somebody else involved here. Somebody else. Because here's people that are still getting checks and they haven't even been seen. Hiding their hair, Dorothea. You have to look at it from my view, dear. I look at it and I think nothing makes sense. This is absolutely
Sir,
goofy.
I have not killed anybody.
Maybe you didn't kill anybody. That may be true. But maybe you know what really happened.
No, I don't.
I think you know about Mr. Montoya. Because Mr. Montoya is not in Costa Rica. Mr. Montoya is not in Utah.
Rica.
Where is he? He's in that backyard, I believe, Dorothea. He is in that backyard or he's been disposed of some other manner.
Not by me.
Then by Mr. McCauley.
I don't
Dorothea, I'm asking you.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think
I want to
John
know what
could
you
do
know.
it.
I want to know what you know. You know, you are the leader of the house. You have the background. Okay? You've been there before. You know what I'm talking about.
I have never killed anybody in my life.
Then who did kill somebody? Mr. McCauley?
I don't know.
Tell me now.
I don't know, sir.
Tell me now,
I don't
Dorothea.
know.
When did Mr. Montoya really disappear? When? Let's be honest with me. Be real honest with me.
October, September.
That's when the last time you saw him.
I saw him this weekend.
Sunday.
Yes.
See, that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody else says, no, he hasn't been around. Why would they tell us that?
I don't know.
Why? Why would they tell us that? Why would Mr. Sharp tell me that you promised to do some things for him
I did
if
not.
If he lied for you?
I asked Mr. Sharp to move. That's why he's mad
I'm
at
going to
me.
bring him in here, and I'm also going to bring Mr. McCauley in here. Okay? Would you have any problems with taking a polygraph test? You know what that is?
Mm-hmm.
That's a, well, quote, lie detector. Would you have any problems with taking that?
Right now?
If I was to set up something today, would you have a problem with that? Would you take it?
No. I'd take it Monday.
Why Monday?
Because I'm too nervous right now.
Now you got to remember, nerves play a part of it. But if you were telling the truth, it can pull that out of there. The machine works on if you're lying, it's going to say you're lying, Dorothea. If you're telling the truth,
let me tell you
wiggling and
something.
shaking.
I always look like I'm lying because I'm nervous because I've been in prison.
Dorothea, you sit where a lot of people are sitting, I know. And I'm not taking the idea, I'm not using that against you that you've been in prison. Okay? What I say when I say you know what
Once a person has been in prison, the police officers, that's...
Not so. Not
yes,
so.
It is.
You know, but I'm saying it's the background. It's the background. It's not like you were in there for something else. What I'm asking for is nothing makes sense here, Dorothea. Nothing makes sense. Everything you said, you can't really substantiate. Mr. McCauley tells me another thing. Mr. Sharp tells me another thing, and I've got a guy that's been missing for at least 2.5, 3 months.
I have not...
And a social worker that says, I've been working with the guy all the time, and he just up and leaves, and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute.
And then all of a sudden, they didn't want anything to do with him.
And then, yeah, no, that's not so. That's not so. She worked with him. She worked with him. She's the one that made the report.
I know it, and I was going
But then
to.
what I'm saying is, I hear this a year ago. A year ago I hear this.
I didn't have him a year ago.
No, not him. I heard about other people. You know what I heard? I heard, hey, Dorothea, over at 1426 F Street, killing people and burying them in their backyard. do you explain the body in the backyard?
I don't know.
2.5 feet down.
I don't
with
know.
clothing and everything with it. How?
When you find out how old it is and see that I didn't have anything to do with that.
What if it's only a year old? What if it's 2 years old? What if it goes back and it's going to be in between that 1978 and 1982? How are you going to explain that? It isn't old enough that it's already, the bones are disintegrating. I can tell you. It looked like there's flesh still there.
I didn't know bones disintegrated.
You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Then what are you going to tell me? If I say, hey, they say me at the max, maybe at that time zone where you were there. How do you explain that? Somebody snuck in your backyard and put a human body in and buried it?
There wasn't other people living there. There was 2 other families that lived downstairs.
But you know what goes on in that residence. You are the keeper of the house. You are the keeper of the yard.
8 o'clock at night, sometimes 9 o'clock, sometimes 7:30.
Dorothea.
Do you really think I'm guilty?
You want me to be truthful with you?
Yes.
I'm going to be real truthful with you. Dorothea, I think you had, somehow you're involved in it. It may not have been by your hand, but it's by somebody's hand. And I think you are very, very frightened right now. You're looking and you don't know what to think. And it's not just because you've had any prior background, because there's been a lot of people. I mean, most of the people we talk to all the time, so I understand that point. But the problem is, I think what you realize is this whole thing is up. I think you realize that whatever has been going on is up. It's over. Because we are going to uncover that yard. And you've lived there. And that's why, Dorothy, I'm saying right now, this whole thing is up. These people have been missing, and you can't even explain why. And then when you tell me it's something that it's totally different than what I know. Why? Am I wrong? Am I lying?
I haven't killed anyone.
Then what happened there?
My conscience is not bothering me. When I confessed to my other stuff and went to prison for it, I was glad to get it off my conscience.
And that's why you'll never rest, and you have no intention of going back to prison. I know that. And I don't know if you would honestly tell me. I don't know right now if you would tell me that if you did,
yes, I would.
You would tell me.
Yes, I would.
I don't know. I think
because I can't take the pressure and stuff.
Well, if you didn't, somebody else did, and the only other person that I can say that has remarkably been around when these guys have disappeared, that's Mr. McCauley.
Well, question Mr. McCauley.
I am, but I think you might have knowledge. What I basically want to know from you is, where is Mr. Montoya? Where he really
right
is.
This minute, I don't know.
And you said you saw him Sunday.
Yes, I did.
Okay. Okay, well, let me go out and make a few phone calls. You want some more water?
Yes, please.
Okay. Now, if you would, you'd take a polygraph. Mm-hmm. And they're not, you know how that works, they're not trick questions, and we don't sit there and try to, it's not like that. We ask you the basic questions like I might ask you,
Could I take it with my parole officer?
Jim Wilson?
Yes.
He could be present, sure. No, we have no problem with that. Okay.
He set it up for Monday, and I'll come in and take it.
And then,
because I want to get off parole.
I know you do. I think everybody does.
And I've had a good record.
Well, I know that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I see this and I say, hey, here's no problem. And then all of a sudden it starts happening and we have information a while back and I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. What's going on here? Why are these people saying this? What's going on here? Okay. What's going on? Why does one of the occupants say, hey, Dorothea told me to lie. She said she'd give me some stuff. She told me to lie.
I didn't.
Why would this man, and then this man knowing that says, if you lie to me, then you're in violation of the law if you're going to tell me this stuff.
Sir, I asked him to move and he is upset.
Okay. Well, we'll get it all. I want to check everything you're telling me, Dorothea. Mm-hmm. I want to check everything that you've been telling me and to make sure that that's what's going on. Okay? Mm-hmm. But let me warn you, if I find any inconsistency whatsoever, Dorothea, anything, okay, you know what the next step is.
Right.
Okay, and it won't end there. That's why I'm saying, if there's something you got to say, or if you're protecting somebody, or you feel fond, or you don't want to turn them in, or you know something, tell me now. Get it out. We'll discuss it. There may be some reason. There may be something logical. The only thing is, right now, we got somebody sitting out in that hole, and we don't know who it is.
I don't know who it is. I didn't go out there and look. I sat right in my kitchen where I said I said I'll sit right here. The only thing I did was to go put a dress on because I didn't want to be running around with my night clothes on.
I don't blame you.
It was a holiday. I didn't expect anybody, and
okay. You want me to see some water, and I'll get some more coffee. Now try to think while I'm not here a few minutes. Just try to, if anything comes to mind, let me know, because that's why I'm here. I need to know. I need questions answered, Dorothea. Okay.
Okay, would you
and I try to look you straight in the eye.
Well, I'm trying to look at you too, but they
I
say
want the truth.
But they say if you keep looking at somebody, you're telling a lie.
No, because when you look at me, I'm looking at your eyes. I'm watching you. I'm trying to extract right out of you. I want the truth out of you. I'm trying to extract that, and by looking in your eyes, I'm looking into your soul.
Well, I wish Mr. Montoya would show up right now.
I just don't think he's going to.
He is. He is. I believe in God, and I know he's going to show up.
How about Ben Fink?
Mr. Fink, I haven't seen him since the day I told him to move because I couldn't take his falling down and drinking anymore.
Okay. Let me get you some water. put the concrete down, you know where the little road bushes are, the little circles are, where the trench was?
Mm-hmm.
Who dug the trench, first of all? McCauley? Was he the one doing the digging?
No.
Who was doing the digging on that?
Jose Gonzalez and some guy by the name of Jim.
Jose Gonzalez, how old was he?
About 55.
Jose Gonzalez. Where did he live? Did he live downtown here?
Mm-hmm.
Was his name Jose or Pedro?
I think he lived at 25th and J.
Oh, okay. He didn't live over here at 5th and J? Okay. Pedro Gonzalez. Or Jose Gonzalez. Now, they dug the hole. Did they just dig it for you and then you searched around and looked for pipes, or McCauley searched around and looked for pipes, or what?
Well, when we felt there was no pipes there, we just covered it right back up.
Who covered it up now?
I think they did.
Okay. And then about, you say March or so this year, that concrete was put down.
Mm-hmm.
Who put that concrete down?
I can't remember.
Was it somebody around there? Did McCauley do it?
No.
You hired someone to do it?
Uh-huh.
Because it's awfully thin. I mean, it looks like if I hit it with a hammer, it'd break.
I just didn't want to have to pull up weeds.
Okay, I understand that.
I don't care that much for yard work.
I don't blame you. Neither do I. Okay. Be right back. Dorothea, come on out. I'm going to have you sit in the lobby for a while. We got to make some phone calls. You might as well sit and relax out here. It's a little cool. Have a seat right there. If you need any more water, let me. There it is. Let me get my coffee cup here. Huh? Let me get my coffee cup. You want some coffee? Or
No, that's...
Yeah,
no.
coffee. You don't want nothing to keep you awake, huh?
No,
Okay. What a day. Well, I'll tell you, huh? Okay, now is it John or Melvin?
Mervin.
Mervin. Why should she call you John?
M-E-R-V-I-N. John McCauley.
Oh, Mervin John.
Yeah.
Okay. M-C-C.
C-A-U-L-E-Y. I go by the name John, except, legal stuff like signing my check.
Okay.
Stuff like that. But I was born with that name.
Okay.
Now you know why I use the John.
Yeah, she keeps saying John. I say, Mervin, is it Melvin, Mervin, or John who? I think we maybe have one of those personalities,
Yeah.
We have a three-person. Okay. Basically, first of all, again, how long have you lived there?
Now, I was thinking that over again because I think all this time I thought it was 3.5 years and would be 4 in March. But actually, it's 2.5 years and will be 3 in March.
Oh, okay. So did you move in after Dorothea?
Oh, yeah.
Was out.
She was
1985. Okay.
Oh, yeah. She was already home.
So 2.5 years.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Okay. Have you performed any digging in that backyard?
Just planting stuff, like tomato plants. I haven't done any.
Who else been digging in that yard?
Well, she's had, those people from the center that they sent on work.
Yeah. How about Jose?
No, he never did any digging at all.
Jose never did digging?
No, he, not that I know of anyhow. He might have done some. See, because around the first of the month, I'm not worth shit for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because I drink quite a bit.
Okay.
I'm an alcoholic.
All right. Now, the concrete, you know where the shed is on the side there where we were digging?
Yeah.
Then there's a tree, and then there's a big slab of concrete.
Right.
And then there's the little shed.
Yeah.
And then right in front of that shed,
There's some more concrete.
some more concrete. It looks like about 1 inch thick.
Yeah.
About 1 inch thick.
Yeah.
And then you have the little circles with the plants in there.
And then in the, I call it a lanai.
Or lean-to. Either way. Yeah, in there.
There's cement in there too.
Put down the same time the other one was?
No, that was put in when I built the shed, and that was 2 years ago.
Okay. You built that out. Like lean-to. That's the outer one, near the driveway.
Yeah, the one that faces the street.
Okay. Or lanai.
I call it. That's fancy word for shed. No, it's just to put chairs and tables there, for barbecue and stuff like that.
Okay. Now,
I did that on my own. She didn't even ask
did you
me
put the
to.
concrete down there where those little circles were?
No. I more or less supervised it.
Who put it down?
I think she had some boys from the center put it down.
Okay. Now, was there any other open trenches or holes underneath that you can remember? At any time ever?
Not to my knowledge. There could have been at any time,
Did you know of anybody digging for sewer pipe there?
All I know is that there was no trenches, as far as I know.
Okay. Nobody dug any of them.
Well, it could have happened without my knowing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long ago was that concrete put down there?
That concrete was put down, I was trying to think, between 16, a year and a half. One was put down a month before the other. So, but both of them been about a year and a half.
The one where the one in front of between the sheds?
Yeah. The one
because it doesn't look that old.
Well,
okay. Also, Dorothea says that was laid down maybe this year. And she was quite specific about it when I questioned her
Well,
about
it could be. I don't know.
But you supervised it.
I mean,
a year and a half
was down there.
Year and a half would almost be the time when you moved in.
Well, see, like I thought I'd been there 3.5 years, so maybe it was just more recently. See, I was just trying to think of.
Okay, let's back up.
Yeah.
Was it put down this year or not? Let's get into specifics,
I can't
Mr.
be
McCauley.
absolutely sure.
You don't know?
I don't want to tell you a lie.
Okay.
You know.
So you don't know when it was put down?
Well, I can't be absolutely sure. I thought it was longer than she said.
Okay. Now, the last time you saw Mr.
I'll tell you how you could find out.
How?
By the center, you know.
What center is that?
The work release center.
From where?
Like that black guy that was there today?
Yeah.
He's from that center.
Skill Center?
Well,
On Stockton Boulevard?
I think it's out on 69th Street or something like that. I don't have the card.
Okay. We can find that out later.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's guys that are just before they're released on parole or just before they finish their sentence that they allow them to go out.
Yeah, kind of like on the job, the training, make some money, do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they'd know because I imagine they keep records.
Okay. Now, when was the last time you saw Mr. Montoya?
Bert?
Bert.
I saw him Sunday.
Okay.
About noon.
Now, Mr. Sharp says
Yeah.
that he hasn't seen him for 3 months.
Well,
2.5 maybe.
Mr. Sharp sits down in his little room down there.
But he would know, because I watch how all you guys congregate, and in and out. Everybody knows when somebody is not.
No, the only reason I was out and not in my room was because you came over, and I was just showing that guy what wood she wanted sawed up, you know, for her nephew's fireplace, and that's all. That's the only reason I was downstairs at all, because I haven't been doing much of anything with this owner.
Now, Ben, do you remember Ben? The Indian? The Eskimo?
An Eskimo?
Or Indian or whatever?
Eskimo, Indian? No. There's never been an Eskimo or an Indian there, but I know.
Well, his name was Ben. Maybe he's Mexican Indian. I don't know. Mestizo, I don't. It's hard to...
I don't know most of these guys' names because they're not there very long.
Okay. Well, Dorothea says Ben was there for 2 months.
Was he there that long?
And said everybody, and even said that he
the
was
only guy I can really remember because he was a hemophiliac was a guy named Bill. See, now that's the only guy I really remember by name.
What happened to Bill?
I think he went to some alcohol treatment center. I'm not sure about that.
Was Dorothea serving as a payee?
For him, no. No, he used to take his own medicine, you know. He used to make himself sick so he'd get into the hospital out here at UCD.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got too much and she had to leave, asked her to leave. That and he was hoarding these Tylenol pills. And she was afraid that he might be giving some to, you know, that niece.
Who?
Dorothea's niece.
Brenda?
Brenda.
When was the last time she was around?
Well, the last time, I don't know whether it was you or her parole officer or somebody had come and picked her up. And she swore that Dorothea had turned her in, and she hadn't, you know. But after all, what she expects every time she comes down, she gets tested dirty.
Yeah, Brenda. And then it was Jose Gonzalez. That's who she was hanging around with. Did you remember him?
I remembered a guy.
Jose. The old, about 50-year-old Mexican guy.
Is that what his name
Yeah,
is?
she and Brenda was hanging around him.
I don't know, but I know.
Remember they got busted?
Yeah.
That's what
I
you're
know
talking
that-
about.
Yeah.
Somebody called them today. They're the ones that were involved in some homicide.
I was in the kitchen, you know, when they just walked right in and busted her all to hell. And she swore that Dorothea had turned her in, and she hadn't.
Not only that, as she mentioned the fact that Dorothea was putting people in the backyard.
Really?
At that time. At that time,
Well,
John.
yes. I seem to remember Dorothea saying somebody came over with sensors or something.
Dorothea tell you that? Looking for bodies?
Something like that. I don't know whether or they were going to, or I mean, it was just off the top of her head.
Was that right after Brenda had been arrested?
Uh,
How long ago was that, this year?
oh, geez, I couldn't tell you. My memory for facts like that is very bad. But
Do you remember her mentioning
it has
something?
to be. It has to have been after she. I don't know. She was busted a couple of times.
Okay, but you remember Dorothea telling you that
Something about
they came over with
that's
censors?
it. No, but she did. I don't know whether she said they came over with censors or they were going to come over with censors. But she said, you know what? She told me that Brenda had said something about bodies in the backyard. See, and I said,
What'd she think of that?
That's crazy. I says, that's crazy. What's she trying to do? You know, for some imagined wrong that you were supposed to do? Because
You thought it was she was being vindictive is what she was doing.
yeah, well, because you know, Dorothea sends packages to some of the girls down in prison. You know, whenever she can,
Right.
and they'd call her. You know, until that Brenda was spreading all these lies about her. You know,
About what? About doing what?
about
Killing people and burying them in their backyard?
Well, she didn't specifically say that, but she did say something about that Dorothea was giving Brenda drugs. You know, and Dorothea won't even keep, you know, anything but her sleeping pills in the house or whatever the doctor gives her, you know. And she made a point of telling me, because, see, I used to take Tylenol 3 for my arthritis until they put me on that ibuprofen. And she told me to make sure I didn't give Brenda any of those.
Now, when was that? This year? Early part of this year?
Well, Brenda was staying there at that time.
What time then?
I don't know. I think she stayed there twice.
This year.
Yeah, I think it was this year.
And it was that time that Dorothea had come to you and said, hey, she's spreading lies that
Yeah.
supposedly there are people in my backyard,
Yeah.
or I'm
Yeah.
giving her drugs and there's
Yeah.
people in our backyard.
Yeah. It was something like that. It's hard to recall it.
See, the thing that doesn't make sense, Mr. McCauley, is the fact that I've got two people that say they haven't seen Mr. Montoya. That was the one social worker
Yeah.
who kept in good contact with him. He'd gone over to detox and said, I don't want to live at Dorothea's anymore. She's been trying to get a hold of him all this time to where she said, wait a minute, nothing seems right. Something is definitely wrong here. He never told her about relatives or anybody. He's from Costa Rica.
He told me that he wanted to go home to Costa Rica.
But he was mentally ill. How could he? He couldn't even do anything,
I
let
don't
alone.
know.
Even the social worker says this guy couldn't even. He didn't know how to do anything, let alone get on a bus and go anywhere. That whole thing about Mexico, that's a crock of shit.
Well, I don't
That
know
is a
anything
crock
about
of
that.
garbage.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay.
Because I didn't see him leave that time, but I did see him leave this time. And it was in a darkish color.
What was he dressed in?
You
You don't know.
you don't notice things like that.
Okay. Because
I noticed.
all of a sudden,
I tell you, the guy he left with was a little shorter than me, and I'm 5'8". He was a little thinner than me, and I was trying to see. I think he had a mustache. I'm not absolutely sure. You know, one of those pinky ones. You know, like the Mexicans wear.
do you gamble?
No, not anymore.
How about Mr. Kelly?
Who?
Mr. Kelly that lives there. Is it Kelly that lives down there?
Oh, Pat.
Pat?
If he does, I don't know about it.
Has anybody recently been up gambling?
He might have been. I don't know.
When?
I don't.
Where does he go if he usually gambles?
I don't know that he does gamble.
Okay.
The only one that I do know gambles is John Sharp, and he gambles up at George Ann's. You know,
Okay, do they ever go like to South Lake Tahoe or to Reno?
not that I know of.
Okay.
They might have, but see, I don't keep tabs on those people because I don't. Well, Mr. Sharp, I don't like to begin with. And I'm telling you how.
Well, Mr.
straight-
Sharp has talked to us and said a few things. Number one is he said that Dorothea asked him to lie when the officer was there. That she would return him with some favors, do some things for him, make things pleasant for him.
Because I think that might be a little vindictive too, because I think she's asked him to move. Because there was one guy there that I think it was, well, one of those welfare agents sent over, you know, and he only stayed the one night. I don't even remember his name, but I do remember he had to use a crutch, and he lied to Dorothea about going to look for a job or going out and doing whatever he was supposed to, you know, and she threw him out right away because she won't stand people.
When was Mr. Sharp?
And he's called several times harassing her.
Who, Sharp?
No.
This other guy?
That other guy.
When was Sharp asked to move?
I don't know. Dorothea just said she'd asked him to move Saturday. See, I try and stay out of as much of her business as I can.
Okay. But here again is the problem.
It's not my place, you know. I'm just a tenant.
Okay. I'm going to ask you again, do you know anything about that body in the backyard, or do you know anything about any other bodies in the backyard? Now, the bottom line is this, Mr. McCauley. I believe there are other bodies in the backyard.
You do?
Yes.
I don't see how they could have got there.
Well,
but the
just
thing
like
is,
this one here, I'm hearing the same thing.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you know, I had no idea there was any kind of a body back there.
All right. You've been there longer than anybody. You were a relative of Dorothea's.
Well, very distant.
Okay.
We don't even acknowledge it. I'm a relative of hers, like Mexicans are interrelated.
Okay.
I mean, I never traded on her relationship to me. I pay her my rent. I pay my own way, and if I do a little bit of work around the house, maybe she'll buy me cigarettes or a beer or two or something like that. But I don't ask for any favors. I pay my full rent. I mind my own business. If I can help her do just a little something, I do.
Okay. Let me ask you this then. Point blank.
Sure.
Did you kill anybody on those premises?
No.
Okay. Number
and
two.
I don't know of anybody having been killed on those premises.
Okay. And you've
either.
never assisted anybody in any form or way, nor have you ever dug a hole to allow a body to be placed in.
Any hole I dug wouldn't cover it.
Nor do you have any knowledge of anybody
I have
being
no
there.
knowch of whatsoever of anybody ever being.
And you swear that the last time you
swear.
saw Mr. Montoya was Sunday.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Okay.
That was
What we're going to do is get a hold of the Costa Rican government, which we're pretty good
well,
with.
I don't know where he was
Dorothea says Costa Rica. I said, how'd you know? And then I said, why didn't you?
Well, I know he's been talking about wanting to go back to Costa Rica. But now whether he's gone back there or not, I have no idea.
And relatives, I mean, we've gotten some, we've received some things the social worker has that is just terribly out of character. Totally out of character.
Well, I don't know anything about that.
Do you have any knowledge that Dorothea might be involved in something like this?
No, I have no knowledge of
Okay.
I don't.
And you know that withholding knowledge or anything on your part places you right with her.
If I know anything, I'd tell you.
Well, something is desperately wrong here.
Huh?
Something is desperately
Well,
wrong. Mr. McCauley.
whatever's wrong, I don't know about.
Okay. Would you be willing to take a polygraph test?
Sure.
Okay. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah, I've taken one before.
Okay.
As a condition of employment once.
Oh, okay. What we'd like to do is set up to where you would take a polygraph, because we have to do this. It's a matter of routine. We've got to find out, because somebody is lying to me. I've got I've got facts.
I've heard all these different stories.
At one time or another.
At one time or another.
That people were being buried in the backyard by Dorothea.
Well, it first started, I think, a long time ago when...
How long?
A couple of years ago.
Okay.
When this... let's see, I think it's her nephew's sister and her husband were living downstairs, and they weren't getting along with, they couldn't get along with anybody. They'd take off and all that kind of stuff. And then she'd accuse Dorothea of all these wildest things.
Of burying people?
I don't know whether she might have said that.
What did she say, if you can remember? The best to your knowledge.
She didn't say them to me. She said them to Dorothea, and I'd just be able to tell you secondhand.
Okay.
See? So
she said them to Dorothea, and Dorothea told you.
Well,
all these wild things about...
She said, yeah, and finally they... Ricardo, her nephew that owns the house, you know, Dorothea signed it over to him when she went to prison. he finally had to get them evicted by court order because, I don't know, he was taken off and he had another girl on the side and she's there and Dorothea...
That's Dorothea's nephew who owns the property.
Well, I don't know their exact arrangement, but I think
Okay.
when she went to prison, she signed it over to him.
Okay, as far as you know, who owns the property?
As far as I know, Ricardo owns the property.
And then Dorothea's been, she says, lease.
Yeah, well, back lease or whatever it is. I think she's, one of those lease arrangements where you get it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. And then everyone just kind of sublets.
And then she pays
Sublets.
the taxes and the mortgage, or gives him the money for the taxes and the mortgage.
Okay. And all the utilities are entered
And
in.
utilities and water bill and...
But you know nothing. You know nothing about...
I have no knowledge of anybody bearing anybody.
Okay. Hang on a second. Let me see what...
Okay.
Just try to relax. No water? You don't want anything?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay.